Hello guys, how are you? I'm going to explain active and passive voice in this video. The voice of a sentence tells us whether the subject is the doer of the action or receiver of the action. Now, let us look at the difference between active voice and passive voice. In active voice, subject is the doer of the action, whereas in passive voice, the subject is the receiver of the action. To put it in a different way, in active voice, subject performs the action, whereas in passive voice, the subject receives the action. If you want to understand active voice and passive voice, you should be able to identify the subject and object in a sentence. Now let us see what a subject is. The subject of a sentence is a person or thing about which something is said in a sentence. What is an object? An object is a person or thing that receives the action performed by the subject. For example, she drew a picture. In this sentence, the subject is she. The object is a picture. We should be able to identify the verb to change it into passive verb with appropriate be form plus past participle form. A verb can be either active or passive. For example, she prepared lunch. In this sentence, the word prepared is an active verb. In the sentence, lunch was prepared by her. Was prepared is a passive verb. Transitive verbs can be used in passive voice as they have direct objects to receive the action. For example, she folded the bed sheets. In this sentence, the verb folded is a transitive verb as it has a direct object, bed sheets. Passive voice is bed sheets were folded by her. Whereas intransitive verbs can't be used in passive voice as they don't have direct objects to receive the action. In the sentence, she is laughing. The verb laughing is an intransitive verb as there is no direct object to receive the action. Here the verb laughing cannot be used in passive voice. Let us look at the difference between transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. Transitive verbs need a direct object to complete their meaning. The action of transitive verb passes over to the direct object. The direct object receives the action of the transitive verb. For example, she kicked the ball. In this sentence, the verb kicked is the transitive verb and the word ball is the direct object and it receives the action. Now let us look at intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs are the verbs that don't need a direct object to complete their meaning. They express a complete thought on their own. For example, the sun shines. In this sentence, the verb shines is an intransitive verb. The action of shining is not being passed on to anything else. Therefore, it is an intransitive verb. Now, let us look at the changes that we make when we change a sentence from active voice to passive voice. The subject of the active verb becomes the object of the preposition. The object of the active verb becomes the subject of the passive verb. For example, she cleaned the room. The room was cleaned by her. When we change a sentence from active voice to passive voice, we don't change the tense. We simply change the active verb into passive verb. You should be able to identify the tense of the given sentence to be able to choose the right be form. For example, when the sentence is in the simple present tense, we use am, is, or as be forms. When the sentence is in the simple past tense, we use was, were as be forms.